It's week 3, and your team just lost. Not only did they just lose, but they've lost a chance at playing in the end of the season championship game for college football. Every week, a different college football fan goes through the agony of seeing their team's season prematurely end. By the end of my speech, you'll understand why the NFL is better than college football. I'll give you 3 reasons. The first being the NFL has a playoff. The second reason would be the differences in the parities of the leagues. And my third reason would be the quality of the football player that's on the field. For my first reason, we're talking about playoffs. Um, with the NFL, you get the 12 best teams from the season to meet in the playoff. And at the end of the playoffs, they play in the number one family event in the United States, the Super Bowl. In college football, you get the 2 best teams voted on by several different polls and by formulas calculated by different computer polls. What the college football hope to accomplish is getting 2 undefeated teams to play in the national championship game. The problem with having 2 undefeated teams in a championship game is the truly good football teams, they play in a very tough conference. There's a chance that they could lose to another really good football team. So what you get is some of the teams in college football that go undefeated year after year truly don't play against the best teams in college football. They may play against teams in that conference they may play against a team in that conference that is not as good as other conferences. So with college football, there's a big difference in the parity. While in the NFL, you pretty much are going to have a good team no matter who you're playing against. Week after week, you're going to see a team that can beat you on the field. So at the end of the day, when you get 12 teams in the NFL playoff, you have 12 teams that have truly earned their spot into the playoffs, compared to college where one team who may have a very tough schedule and have a couple of losses compared to a team that has a very weak schedule and they go undefeated. That team that played against the weak teams that went undefeated is going to be the team that goes to the championship game. So there's always a really good chance in college football that at the end of the season, you don't have the 2 best teams playing against each other for the championship. My third thing would be the quality of the player that's on the field. In college football, there's a lot of different variables. There are those players that are really, really good in football, in college football, that will one day play in the NFL. But mostly, there are a lot of players that are just student athletes. They go to college to get a degree and one day work a job that's not playing football. So what you get on the football field sometimes is one team that is loaded with future NFL players against another team with no NFL players. And that becomes a very sloppy game. And not necessarily a product that's going to bring me much entertainment. So I would just rather watch the NFL, where every player on the field is a superstar at his position. I mean, they're probably the fastest player on the field when they're in college, but once you get them all in the NFL, you have just a bunch of greats at all 11 positions playing at it snap after snap. So, I mean, that's my 3 reasons why NFL is better than college football. So, to end, number 1, there's a playoff. Number 2, the NFL parity is much stronger than college parity. And finally, the quality of the player on the NFL teams are much better than the quality of the player that's playing for the college teams. So, if you cheer for your favorite NFL team and they lose in week 3, maybe they even lose in week 5, but there's still a good chance they can still make the playoff if they lose 2 games. Your team lose 2 games in college football, and then that's pretty much it for your team. No national championship. Have a nice day.